What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Movement Driven Podcast. I am Dr. Greg, and with me we have a very special guest, Coach Mo Gesualdi of St. John's Golf and Country Club. She runs the academy over there. I'll let you introduce yourself in a moment and tell the people a little bit more about you. But I did want to kind of point out we are in a little bit of a different studio today. We're here at BackNine Ponte Vedra. Both Coach and myself are sponsors of a couple of bays here. So this place is they got 4 simulators to come here and do all the golf that you want to do. You can come in and just book a tee time, or you can become a member and come here monthly or weekly or however often that you want. So Brian and Carrie are the husband and wife owners. They've been absolutely great since they opened this place. So thank you to them for hosting us. But Coach Mo, we've known each other. We were just talking about the age of my kids when we met and how I've doubled my family since we've met. But we've known each other for, I guess, 4+ years now.
Right.
And my remembering of it is I don't know who reached out to who, but you came in and we just kind of talked, and I gave you a little, evaluation to kind of see how I like to treat my clients, and we started talking golf, and then, it's kind of been a great partnership since then.
Right.
Coach Mo has been great to help me in my business. And I'll just put this out there. One of the most genuine people you will find in Northeast Florida. She is an absolute amazing human being. She really is just genuine person. So just regardless of her golf instructor skills, I'll start there, but she's a great golf instructor as well. We'll get into that. But yeah, tell everybody how, our relationship, but more importantly about you and your journey to golf.
First of all, thanks for having me on, and that was quite the intro, so thank you. It's been great to know you and get to know your family and everything, and just collaboration is just a big thing to me, and working and finding the right people to work with. And there's a lot of different doctors and physios and trainers out there, but the team that I built is just comprised of great people like you. I think it's important to find a great person first, and then then it's so easy to work with. And besides that, I think what you know about the body and how it works and the details that you provide is what really connected me to working with you. I remember you invited me, I think, for an evaluation. Being TPI certified, the body and connecting it to the golf swing is really important to me. And, I think there's instructors out there, but then there's coaches, and I consider myself more of a coach. An instructor is going to teach a position in the swing, and a coach is going to teach the overall person and what they need, and that is going to include their mind and their body and their nutrition. And so I was drawn to you by your details and just becoming a patient of you and working with you and seeing the benefits that I had personally was the reason that I was like, hey doc, can you work with juniors and adults, and are you willing to kind of be a part of this academy? And I mean, you jumped right on it. So
yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've learned a lot along the way from you and all the great instructors over there at the academy. And so I'd love you free to tell everybody listening a little bit more about, so you are the lead instructor and the director of the academy at St. John's Golf and Country Club. So tell everybody kind of what you guys are specialized in and what you do the most.
Sure. So, I came down here in 2019, and originally that academy was not part of St. John's. It was just training high-level athletes, just high-level junior golfers, creating them for the college level. And then we had mini tour players, and tour players come. And we didn't focus on anybody else than that. And then an opportunity came about in 2021 where I could become a part of the club and become a director of instruction at St. John's. And I just thought, and I love teaching high-level players, but it's a very small percentage of golfers. And I just feel like we can make a bigger impact in the community if we open the doors to kind of every level of golfer. And so we originally started at the junior level. Before, like I said, we only worked with high level, like high schoolers. And so then we started letting in some of the younger kids, and we built these programs called Foundations, where the kids as early as 4 years old come and work with Coach Jeff, and then they work their way up through birdies, and then, Eagles, Aces, Albatross, college prep. And then once we kind of got our footing in the junior golf space and kind of really well known in this area, we were like, adults need help too. And
Mhm.
so then we just were like, we have great systems and programs. Why can't we just adapt this for adults? And so I've got a great mentor, Steve Loescher at Troon, and he kind of helped get some of those programs, what works, what doesn't, and then so we got the Welcome to Golf program, which is for brand new beginners that are adults any age. A lot of women kind of get into that
Mhm.
program, and then we've got Break 100 as they start getting more into their golf careers, and and then Break 90, and then we've got a learn and play clinic that goes. We go on the course with them and kind of see like in real life situation, what are you doing? What do you need help with? Course management, mental, everything. So
Yeah, and I think what comes to mind when you're saying all that is, like, you have the capability, you and your team, to work with people of all different levels, all different ages, whether it's people coming in through leads. You do a lot with the Ladies Executive Golf Society, and they're more of a networking group with a lot of beginning golfers, but they come to you for clinics and stuff, and they seem to thoroughly enjoy that. So for anybody listening that's looking for a golf instructor, you can find somebody, whether it's Coach Mo or one of her people, that's going to be right for you and your level. So I love that. And then let's kind of move on to talk a little about, you mentioned how big you are in collaborating. So obviously with me and stuff like that, and we'll get to that a little bit more, but you also are big on nutrition and mental performance with the ladies that you have brought in. So let's give them a shout out, if you will.
yeah, Coach Dawn Woodard, she's also a Furman alumni. She owns Judgment Matters. So she works with the Judgment Index, which it's a values-based assessment. So it's not a personality test like some people think it is. And I took that assessment myself and I was blown away by it. And I was like, I absolutely need to do this. And it's not just like when you hear mental performance assessment, people might think you can only benefit from this if you're having mental struggles, and that's not the case. She just really is able to identify your strengths and then help make them stronger.
Mhm.
And then if there are some things that maybe get in the way of your performance, she's able to talk to you about it and strengthen those as well. But where it's really great in terms of what we do is a lot of times with the junior golfers, we're going to see like a dad on one page, like maybe they're caddying at US kids tournaments or whatnot. And then the player is thinking and wanting different things, and we're seeing some butting heads.
Mm.
And so she's just great at helping establish the rules between the parents and the juniors and the coaches and getting everyone on the same page. She's helped with boys, girls, younger, older, everybody with my team from a coaching standpoint. So there's not anybody that wouldn't benefit from working with Coach Dawn. She's phenomenal and has really helped me as a coach
Mhm.
improve, which just like the players are wanting to improve, like I'm constantly growing like they are. And so if you're just standing still, and you're not looking to improve as a coach, I think it's going to pass you by. So I challenge myself from that way. And she's really helped with that. And then, we have Cindel Gwen. So she is based out of North Carolina. She played collegiate golf at NC State, and she's a registered dietitian. So she has worked with not only my juniors, but Liz, who you and I both worked
Yep.
with. She's worked with her on her nutrition as well.
Right.
And then we brought in Coach Tyler
Yeah.
Martin. He's been phenomenal to the
Tyler's
team.
awesome.
He's our personal trainer, and he trains the kids 3 days a week. And then you and him and I, we have this collaboration. So all the kids, we know what's going on with them, with their bodies and what they need to be doing. But his energy that he brings is amazing. And then he also has a background in nutrition as
Mhm.
well. So I feel like we've got a lot of great team members
Yeah.
together that, and we're all
I
connected.
think what's cool about Tyler is he's seeing the kids very very often now, and he's a client of mine as well,
Yeah.
and so he can bring some of my lingo into the picture. He has the nutrition background as well, so I know he's constantly like quizzing the kids on different things, like,
Oh,
and giving them snacks as rewards and stuff, healthy snacks.
oh, they love
Um,
it. They earn money. So, like at Academy, like if your attitude, your effort, or performance, we're basically creating these little bank accounts for them to try to teach them, like everything's not given to you, you got to earn it. And
yeah.
so they earn dollar amounts that they can then, coach buys them stuff. He'll say, give me, $20 on Amazon, whatever you want, send it and he'll buy it.
Uh-huh.
Or I'm going to Masters, I'll go to the players, buy all this swag,
Nice.
and then they can earn their way towards kind of prizes.
Well, and that's kind of brings us to the next subject I want to talk about is when we're coaching juniors, it's different than adults in a lot of ways. We have to manage them. They're learning how to adapt. They're learning how to deal with anxieties, whether it's in school or on the course itself, and how to, that relates to what Don does from a mental performance standpoint. But what do you think differs in terms of how you manage and what why people listening should bring their kids to come see you guys?
Well, there's juniors versus adults, and then, I mean, even within juniors, there's a lot of subcategories, and then the girls and the boys are totally different
Yeah.
too. So there's just not one way or one style or one method that you can teach kids. They're all individuals, and they all peak at different times. Their puberty hits at different times.
And you're treating all the different, or
Yeah,
you're coaching all the different
emotional
ages.
maturity. So
Yeah.
you're there's a lot of blanket statements out there and generalizations about kids and adults and how to train them, but I mean, we're looking at each kid individually. So I think that is unique to us, and I have the ability to do that because I have 6 coaches. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely not able to do all this on my own, and that's why I do have a team. But specifically if we're talking about, I know we're going to get into probably the boys and the girls, but I mean, when they're hitting puberty, the girls hit it earlier, so their strength, they're getting stronger a little earlier. They're stabilizing better than the boys earlier, but their mobility is an issue because they're so hypermobile
Yeah.
that they can't stabilize.
Yeah.
So, you and I have talked about that. And then the boys, they go through their growth spurts and they're just stiff. Their hips,
Yep.
their hip flexors, we notice, are so tight, and they get a lot of this speed and power, but they have no way to control it. So they're just very different to teach and coach, physically, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
So I think that's great for us too, because, being a female, it really, really, the girls come to me with all sorts of things that I can't imagine they're going to a male coach
Right.
about. So
Which is cool because there's not many female coaches around in our area, really, when you think about it. There's
there's instructors, but I
Yeah.
don't know as many that are doing kind of what we do.
and working with juniors at all. Yeah, even just juniors blankets, same. There's not a lot of junior programs around here. But kind of while we're on that point, that's something that we talk about when we're dealing with. I think the emotional maturity is a big part of it, and the way that they're accepting the information and the way that we have to deliver it is huge. But more on the physical standpoint, from where I come from, you kind of mentioned at the puberty, they're hitting it at different ages. But the girls tend to be more limber, if we want to generalize,
Yeah.
and they tend to be more on the hypermobile side of that spectrum. And so from my standpoint, I have to work on, hey, we have to stabilize a little bit more. But to your point, they are hitting puberty a little bit sooner, so they're able to get through those hurdles quicker. But then the other thing I see a lot is girls in general, women in general, tend to be quad dominant. And so just naturally, women tend to use their quads more than their glutes.
Yeah.
So is that something that you see probably with both, but with the girls specifically, the inability to really recruit glutes and use them well, and have to kind of learn that process?
Oh my gosh, the glutes. I mean, I know the glute med is your favorite muscle to work, and that's one we talk about with the kids a lot. And like the girls, you're saying they get that stability a little better, but it's almost like utilizing their power that is there. Like we're having to coach them through that. And with some of the girls, like Fiona and Missy, and just like getting them to use the power that we see, because just because they're stronger, they could lift weights, doesn't mean that it's transferring to the swing and to the golf ball. So that's another kind of mental thing that we're having to work through with the kids too. More so the girls. The boys are happy to unleash and just rip it, but their ability to control the ball is a lot more challenging than it is for the girls.
Well, and then when they're going, when kids are going through growth spurts, for everybody listening, when you're going through those growth spurts, your tendons and muscles are changing at a different rate than the bones tend to. So we do see like the hamstring tightness and the hip flexor tightness. But then what also kind of goes along with that, which I don't even talk about too much, is the decrease in coordination during that time.
Especially the boys.
Yeah, so they have some just by being, having some testosterone come in that age group, they're going to have more brute strength. But the ability to coordinate that and move efficiently through the golf swing, especially when there's some tight muscles that are weak during that time, is that the biggest thing you see, is the ability to like coordinate all that and get efficient movement patterns through the
Yes,
golf
you
swing?
see the boys will go through growth spurt 3, 4, 5, 6 inches instantly.
Right.
They just not it's almost like they're having to
They're
relearn all
giraffes
their
learning how to
movement
walk.
patterns.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. That's the thing I've seen too the most. I just we just had our June in, and he's a great kid, and he's one of the boys that listens rather well compared to some of the others. But um he I was able to do a one-on-one session with him recently, and I was able to really see where some of his specific weaknesses or more of his tightnesses are. And it was very eye-opening for me of even though we see them in these group settings, we do have to individualize it,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's hard to. So it was good that I got the time to be with him one-on-one, and now I have a whole different outlook of how we're going to attack that. And I think
Yeah.
together with you guys, we're going to be able to get some good yardage on his swing.
For sure, like, in general, I mean, the boys, like, I know the hip flexors, that's what we keep kinda saying, and then the girls too, like, it is lower body, they need that, but their upper body tends to be a lot weaker
Yeah.
too, and, the weight of that club head can get heavy,
Yeah.
and you're trying to lift it up, and, like, with Ariana, I mean, they're so tiny, and you get the club in a position where you can't support it, and they just lose all kinds of control, so
Yeah, but she's come a long way too, and
yeah.
like I think like the ability we talk about this with all our golfers, and it's one of those words that you can't avoid: ground reaction force.
Right.
If you know golf at all, you've heard this term, and that's what creates power. And with Ariana, it's been like, how do you get the power or the force from the ground through the body to the hands? And that's what we see, I think, with all of our golfers.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different reasons for that, whether
Right.
it's stiffness in the senior golfer or a lack of coordination and motor control in the junior golfer. But that's something that working with a TPI certified person like myself, what would you say is what would you say has attracted you that to the most? Because I think that's something that got you to come in the first place, was the fact that I had a little bit of that background
Sure.
already. What do you and TPI is not everything, but what is it about that TPI and that mentality that attracts you to work with those types of instructors?
Yeah, I think well when I got TPI certified, I was blown away by it because I've done a lot of different certifications, but to me it's one of the most intriguing because it is incorporating the body into the swing. And so as instructors, we get a basic generalized understanding, right? We're not the doctors, but we're able to learn and be aware of certain things where we will see that's a limitation beyond our reach. And
Right.
so it creates a community and a network with doctors and trainers that we can connect with on. So most of the time, someone's going to come to me first for the lesson, and I'm kind of that one that can direct them towards their next steps. So for me, I don't believe like another lesson, another lesson, another lesson is going to be the fix. Like if I see the root cause is due to a movement pattern or a weakness or mobility, then I'm calling you
Right.
immediately. And I sent you, I mean, probably 90% of my clients
Yeah.
because even if they're not a kid or they're older, they come back from injury. There's so many different reasons. And I think one of the things a lot of people in their head, and maybe me too back in the past, was I don't need physical therapy. I'm not injured. And so it's just like, this is not about fixing an injury. This is about maximizing your potential.
Wow.
And I think, with these kids and parents who are really motivated to succeed and to kind of see where their golf game can take them, like if you are not looking into how your body's performing and understanding are there limitations or leaks like speed leaks, like we
Mhm.
see it all the time with
Mhm.
why we can't create speed. And so getting on board with you, I mean, that's what I really was attracted to connecting with you on, is because I think you only help my students get better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so and then again, like, we'll get to a physical thing and kinda start working with you, and then I'll see, like, oh, it's a mental thing on the course in a tournament, and so,
Yeah.
then we're connecting with Dawn, so it's like, when these things start arising and it's appropriate time, then we start bringing in the rest of the coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I would say too, from my perspective, the golf instructor, you can only put your clients in the positions that they're capable of getting into, right? And if they can't get into XYZ position because of a mobility restriction or a strength restriction, then your hands are tied. So then you're either going to have to like almost teach a compensation
Yeah.
or get them outside help. And I think that's what a lot of golfers are missing is they just rely on the compensation, which then you're just settling on losing distance or
Yeah.
accuracy right off the bat.
It's like, and I'll hear other coaches say it too, and they'll just be like, "Oh, you just need to hit more balls. You just need to practice." And not if you haven't fixed the underlying root problem.
There it
And
is.
if you don't know what it is, then how can you say that?
Right, right. And I think that's what's best about the TBI is that at least gives us a foundation to start upon, a way for us to communicate. And TPI preaches body swing connection and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's useful. I don't, like I said before, it's not the end all be all, but it is a way to at least have a standardized test. Now we can see the improvements over time.
Yes.
And we know right off the bat, hey, your T spine's not moving at all, or your hip strength at end range is
Yeah.
not there at all.
Yeah.
And so that's a good way for us to get started.
And I love when you're able to come and report back to me like, "Hey, I found this with the kids and this is what we're going to work on." And then we have that plan because I
Yeah.
think that's what the kids want, that's what the parents want, and then as coaches that's what we want. It's like, all right, now we've identified what it is. We have a pathway that we're going to attack it, and then we're all in communication with each other on
Yeah.
that. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, that's what's worked the way, and that works best from my standpoint too, is when I have a coach willing to hop on the phone and discuss our mutual clients. That's best for our clients. And then that's best for our business too. I mean, frankly. Let's talk a little bit about, I think the one person that would come to mind for you would be Fiona when I ask this question of what stands out as the person who's made the most gains. But Fiona, I was working with as a part of Academy. I go to Academy every Friday, and I work on specific. One day will be a plyometric day where we're just working speed and power. Or one day we're just all about the glutes and rotation throughout the pelvis. And then Tyler has his own plan too that he comes twice a week with. But Fiona was making gains, but she had definitely kind of plateaued at this time.
Mhm.
And she was having a little bit of pain as well, but that wasn't necessarily the main thing. But let's tell them a little bit about Fiona's case and how we helped her together.
Sure. So Fiona joined Academy late spring of her freshman year. So, I'm happy to work with kids at any point, any age, but that's probably not late in the game, but a lot of the kids I'm getting in middle school. So
Mhm.
I'm getting her kind of mostly at the tail end of her freshman year.
Right.
And she had these aspiration and dreams to play college golf, and she was throwing up mid to high 80s, low 90s in tournaments. And
Mhm.
so, we've got to get those scores down if we're trying to get recruited. So the first thing I start working and building the swing in the way that I like it built. And so after a couple years she's getting into good positions, but then we're noticing like her speed and power is not there where she wants it to be. And so she was complaining of, like you said, that upper kind of thoracic area. And
Yeah.
so
Like the
got
trap and even into the neck and shoulder.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once we got her, and I tried, like, and it's her, she's one of the most coachable kids I've ever had. Her parents are phenomenal. If I
Mhm.
could copy and clone Fiona and her family, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I had been pushing, "Hey, you gotta go see Dr. Greg. You gotta go see
Because I was
Dr. Greg."
working with her with the group.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, that one-on-one stuff, you really kinda need that too in addition. And so when she bought into that, it was maybe a few months later, we started to notice she was picking up 30 yards, with her game. And so that wasn't from beating more balls. It was, you kinda building in the strength that she needed,
Yeah.
working through some of those, kinda aches and, kinda, I wouldn't say pains, but they were kinda
Well,
nagging.
I think they were more side effects of something kind of not going right within the swing itself. And the reason why she couldn't get into the backswing and get her shoulder in the proper position was because of some of the rotator cuff strength limitations and some of the thoracic spine mobility limitations. And so a lot of what we did was really just work on just a couple of minor things from my perspective. But I think what it allowed her to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but she was then better able to dissociate hip, femur from pelvis, from spine, from shoulder, and she was able to get her hips open, get her arm right back in the right slot, rather than coming over the top and losing countless
She
yards there.
Yeah, her big thing, she always went so long. So, like, she
Yeah.
didn't have that strength to support the club at the top, so it would just get too long on her and throw off her whole sequence.
Yeah.
So just getting that strength and the ability to stop the swing from going so long past
Yeah.
the point of where it's functioning correctly. And so that sequencing really helped. And then everything just started to tie together from
I
that.
think things started to click for her, and she was
Yes.
working with Don too. And I think that's a message too to even the adults listening. If you look at people on tour, like Rory is one of the longest drivers on tour, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's probably one of the smaller stature guys.
5'8", maybe?
If that, right?
Yeah.
Now he's got some muscle to him for his size, but I think that just shows you do you need to squat and deadlift? I think so. Yeah, if you want to hit the ball. I think some of those bigger Olympic type lifting should be part of your programming, whether you're a junior or an adult just trying to play with buddies on the weekend. But for her, it was more the little muscles, getting them to be coordinated, getting them to fire in the right way, in the right sequencing. That's what unlocked it for her, rather than I need to bench press this much more weight, which is correlated with longer drives.
Well, then the confidence comes, like we said,
It's a snowball.
junior year, that year where they're starting to get recruited is just, it's a tough year mentally. I mean, their schoolwork is some of the hardest. They're doing the SATs, ACTs, and then coaches can start talking to them.
Yeah.
So we start seeing, I mean, with the girls, it's tough emotionally. I mean, and so you get all that in the way of all these other things you're trying to do. And it's just like you want to be on the same page as everyone and on the same team, and you want the player to be confident in what they're working towards.
Yeah.
And so I think that just kind of unleashed something for us with her. And, come full circle now this weekend, we've got the Coach Mo Classic, and she's playing D1 golf in California, coming back this weekend to compete. So,
Oh, is she going to be there?
yep,
Oh, I
she's gonna
definitely
come
got to
here.
come by then.
Yeah,
Oh, I gotta go see her.
absolutely.
That's
So
awesome.
it's,
Yeah.
it's amazing to kind of see, like, this kid who I'm like, I remember her 9th grade making TikTok videos and dances, and I'm like, we got to get ready for college golf.
Right.
And now she's gonna be
Right.
coming back from
And I
college.
think that's another point to kind of promote you and your people over there is, I mean, I think the picture's clear that you are helping these kids in more ways than one. But you're, even when they're getting to that point of recruiting, you're helping them along there because
Oh,
you
yeah.
helped connect her with her college coach, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do know her college coach, Katie. And I was like, you got to give this girl a chance. Like, she's such a team player. She's gonna bring the chemistry of the team. She's gonna be so coachable and do everything you said. And Katie called me last week, and she's like, she's a freshman, but she's one of the leaders on the team.
So
And so
cool. That's a great
we've
compliment.
we've talked about. I mean, we did a lot of Toastmasters training, interviewing, and just getting them ready as a person. So I think your score is just one component, but the bigger picture is, who are you as a person? Who are you as a teammate? Who are you as a leader? And trying to build those kind of skills as well as communication, because for most of them, if they're lucky to get to play college golf, which is a very small few, then what's life look like after that? And you've got to have these skills, and golf can be something that you are excellent at, that is going to open a lot of doors, but
Right.
you also need these people skills,
For sure.
and they are not learning this in school. And so,
I mean, that we got a whole podcast on
yeah,
the socialization of children these days and a
Yeah,
little out
so-
thereof. But I think it sounds cliche when a coach says something like that, but I'll attest to, like, that's, you guys are actually doing, we're trying to make them good people first, good students, as well as obviously good golfers. And so for anybody listening that their kid's involved in golf and you're looking for a program, look no further. Like, this is the place that you want your kid to be. They're not allowed to mess around. We're treating them like I know I treat these kids like I would treat my own. Like, there's no BS happening there. We're there to work. We're there to have fun too. But when it's time to do the workout, it's time to do the workout. And we're trying to make them as good people as we can as well. And I know Coach Mo does an excellent job at that, because you're spending so much time with these kids too. So
yeah.
you really
Right.
have to.
And,
Parents want you to do that.
like I said, Fiona, I'd love to copy and clone. And now,
Right.
like, the earlier I get them, now we've got Penelope, and she started at 11, and she's 11 years old already, working with Coach Dawn. I know she's in the full-time program, so you get to work with her. She's working out with Tyler 3 days a week. And then she's just doing everything at that age. She's turned 12, but I'm telling you, she's got dreams to play high-level college golf. And I've shown her video to a couple coaches I know, and they're like, wow. So, just getting them at that 11, 12 years old is awesome for them to kind of buy into this program, because then we have so many years to really develop them. And, you need that time because you can't rush through this process. The time it takes, the time it takes. There's no shortcuts.
Right. So along that line, like when you're looking for people to work with, is there anything that you're specifically looking for, or, take this time to tell everybody listening how to find you, and if they want to work with you, what's the best way to get in contact?
Anybody. I mean, if you're looking to improve your golf game with it, or you haven't even started, I mean, if it's not me, I have a coach at the academy. We have 6 coaches. So we're located at St. John's Golf and Country Club, stjohnsgolf.com. And on there's a link to the academy page, and that'll drop down to our academy where you could look up every lesson and clinic. So, I mean, we're willing to work with anyone. We have all different price points, all different skill levels, different certifications. We just started PGA Hope this week, so we're working with a lot of veterans.
Cool.
We work with the kids, obviously. We've got PGA Junior League coming on. And then we've got our legs kickoff event today at 5. So it's a very, very
always something to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really, and hopefully some cosmetic changes and some enhancements to the facility itself come in the next year or so.
Yes, I've got some big visions that I'm trying.
Well, I can't even really talk about it yet, but
that's right.
Stay tuned. Coach Mo, that was awesome. I appreciate you joining us on the podcast here.
Doc, always love talking with you.
Yeah. We got to do it again. We'll talk shop a little bit more about the golf swing itself next time. So yeah, and Coach Mo is super active on Instagram as well. So give her a follow. You can get lots of her tips and see what's going on at Academy on Instagram. And like I said, if you want to get yourself or your child involved in golf, this is a great place to start. Or if you're just looking to tweak a already pretty fine-tuned swing, it's not a bad place either. Like she said, she's got 6 instructors, all different skill levels. They work with everybody, and they're all really good people. So thank you to Coach Mo, and thank you again to Brian and Carrie here at BackNine. If anybody wants to come along and shoot some, TPC number 17 right behind us. Coach Mo and I are both members here, and so you can come and hit the ball with us sometimes. But thanks again for joining. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks for tuning in to the Movement Driven Podcast with Dr. Greg Goldberger. Want to see how we're helping people in Jacksonville bridge the gap between pain and performance? Head on over to movementdriven.com. Until next time, keep moving, stay driven.